Donald Trump is panicking, and he was having a psychotic meltdown at midnight last night as Iran has completely outmaneuvered him when he was trying to pull one of his fake deal scams with the ceasefire, where he goes, all right, I'm going to enter into a deal and I'll agree to all of your terms, Iran. And then Donald Trump's like, well, I actually didn't agree to those terms. Those weren't the real terms. The terms were my terms. And Iran was like, Donald, you publicly posted, because we made you, that you embraced our 10-point negotiation framework. You literally posted it, and we've made clear what our 10 points were. But okay, Donald, you want to do that? Israel's going to continue to attack Beirut in Lebanon. That's what you want to do? Okay. The Strait of Hormuz remains closed. We've put mines all throughout the Strait of Hormuz. We're not going to let a single tanker through, Donald. You know, when the war was going on, there were about 5 to 10 tankers that were able to get through the Strait of Hormuz. So you want to play this game, Donald, where you claim that you didn't agree to the 10-point framework that was the basis of the ceasefire? Go and do it. We're not going to let a single tanker through the Strait of Hormuz. And you know what, Donald? This is what Iran says. We're going to publish a map showing that we've mined the entire strait. So good luck, any ships trying to traverse the Strait of Hormuz. So here's what we've learned, and Donald Trump is freaking out about this, so much so that Donald Trump's been posting, we're going to keep our troops in Iran. We're ready to start shooting again, or else we're going to do some more conquests elsewhere. So I'll show you what he posted in just a moment. But here are the facts. Only 4 vessels managed to cross the Strait of Hormuz since the ceasefire, that's really a ceasefire in name only, started. Not a single one of these ships involved any tankers at all. 0 tankers. The last transit was yesterday morning. No vessels have completed a crossing since the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps declared Hormuz closed due to the ceasefire violations, and that Israel attacked Lebanon in the biggest strike of the war, killing 100 people in one attack on Beirut and 258 people with over 1,000 injuries throughout the day yesterday. Take a look at this map that the Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps published. Take a look right here. They show the route. If you want to get through, here's the route right here. They show on this map that they've put mines throughout the Strait of Hormuz. And so if you want to be able to travel, you got to go right around the coast of Iran. And if you don't get permission, the Iranian Navy blows up your ship. There was one tanker that attempted to transit the Strait of Hormuz yesterday, and it made a 180-degree turn as Iran's Navy said, we're not letting any tankers through. Go back. That ship returned, and the oil executives, by the way, are losing it over Donald Trump. They're all saying, you agreed that Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz now? The oil executives read the 10-point plan. I mean, Donald Trump can go on his social media platform and attack NATO and say, I'm going to launch a federal investigation into CNN and other media companies that published the 10-point list. That's not the real 10-point list. Everybody knows Iran actually agreed with our 15-point plan, but they called it a 10-point plan, not the 10. But we all know what the 10-point plan was, Donald. It was a total and complete surrender of the Trump regime and the United States of America, and you agreed to it. Iran immediately published the 10-point plan when you announced that there was a ceasefire. The mediator now, who is the Pakistani Prime Minister Sharif, he made clear that you basically adopted the 10-point. We all know what happened here. So all these oil executives are like, Donald, we can't pay Iran $2.5 million per tanker to use the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to lose money. Makes the use of the Strait of Hormuz all but impossible. If we have to pay that money, it passes on to the consumer, so the price of oil surges. What the hell kind of deal did you make, Donald? This is the worst of all circumstances. That's what the oil executives are saying. And they leaked that to Politico, that's what they're telling the Trump regime. So as Trump was having this late night meltdown last night, though, this is the type of stuff that he was posting. He goes, NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and they won't be there if we need them again. Remember Greenland, that big poorly run piece of ice? DJT. Because Donald Trump said because NATO did not give him Greenland and did not allow him to conquer Greenland, he feels betrayed by NATO and that the U.S. will likely be pulling out of NATO. That's what he was saying all day yesterday. We're going to take American military bases off of NATO. Just go, you loser, then. Just go. Stop your whining and your baby behavior. It's beyond quote unquote taco. It's you are a little baby. No offense to babies. You don't want to be part of it. Get the hell out of there and stop whining and crying, you pathetic piece of trash. That's how the American people think of you. You all saw the new poll. Majority of Americans want to see your piece of trash regime impeached because of your war crimes, your cover-up of the Epstein files, a child sex trafficking ring, your disgusting behavior. People are sick of the chaos and the lies, and they want normalcy. Oh, and by the way, as we reported yesterday, now the Trump regime is saying they're not going to allow Pam Bondi, who's no longer the Attorney General, to have her deposition taken April 14th by Congress pursuant to a subpoena. Why? Because this is a criminal cartel that covers up for sex traffickers. They are disgusting. That's why. Sorry, I get so damn angry at these disgusting, ghoulish creatures. Ugh. Donald Trump also posted the failing New York Times and fake news CNN each reported a totally fake 10-point plan on the Iran negotiations, which was meant to discredit the people involved in the peace process. All 10 points were a made-up hoax. Evil losers. America's great again. Oh, discredit the people. You think we're just all stupid? You think we're all just dumb MAGA mush brain idiots? We aren't. Iran's foreign minister Araghchi, the head of their parliament, MB Ghalibaf, the Iranian National Security Council, they've all been posting the 10-point plan for weeks, knowing you were going to pull this. And in fact, when you made the announcement, you said, I agree to the 10-point plan, and Iran made clear what their 10-point negotiating plan was. Enough is enough. Donald Trump then said the following late last night. This was at midnight. Okay, this was at 12:04 a.m. He writes, numerous agreements, lists, and letters are being sent out by people that have absolutely nothing to do with the USA-Iran negotiation. In many cases, they are totally fraudsters, charlatans, and worse. Pause. The Iranian people you negotiated with have put out the list, their 10-point plan. And they didn't do it recently. They've been doing it for 4 damn weeks. We all know what those points are. Then Donald Trump goes, they will be rapidly exposed after our federal investigation is completed. Ooh, you're going to do a federal investigation for people reporting on the public list that Iran put out? Again, this is just pathetic loser behavior. I don't care what political party you're from. Donald Trump then goes on to say, there is only one group of meaningful points that are acceptable to the United States, and we will be discussing them behind closed doors during these negotiations. These are the points that are the basis on which we agreed to a ceasefire. It is something that is reasonable and can easily be dispensed with. It's very much like fake news CNN last night headlining a source that had no power or authority to write a letter claiming great authority. Donald J. Trump. Look, here's what you posted, Donald Trump. You posted from Iran's foreign minister Araghchi when the ceasefire was announced, which is a fake ceasefire. You said the general framework of Iran's 10-point proposal as a basis of negotiations. And the 10-point peace plan guarantee Iran will not be attacked again, permanent end to the war, not just a ceasefire, end to Israel strikes in Lebanon. Yes, the mediator said that that was the term. The Pakistani prime minister said that was the term, lifting all U.S. sanctions on Iran and all regional fighting against Iranian allies. Iran would reopen the Strait of Hormuz under its naval control with a $2 million fee per ship transiting Hormuz. Iran would split the fees with Oman. Iran would establish rules for safe passage through Hormuz, and Iran would use Hormuz for reconstruction instead of reparations. That's what the deal was. MB Ghalibaf, the leader of Iran's parliament, announced that at this point, this was yesterday, ceasefire and negotiations following the aggression by the United States and Israel of Lebanon, the denial of the right to enrichment, because one of the points also was Iran enriches its uranium, and the violation of Iranian airspace, that the ceasefire holds no meaning. Iran has notified Washington of its resolve to withdraw from the ceasefire should the Israeli and American regimes fail to adhere to the ceasefire across all fronts, and is awaiting its response. An Iranian analyst who's very close to MB Ghalibaf, the parliament leader, suggests Israel may escalate to try to pull U.S. into the war and break the ceasefire, but doubts Donald Trump will join. They just view that Donald Trump is out, that Donald Trump will huff and he'll puff and he'll blow your house down, but he is whiny and he is a loser and he is not going to do anything. That's what they're saying. Iran has notified Washington of its, it says an account reported close to the Iranian parliament speaker, MB Ghalibaf, said Israel could carry out new operations in the coming hours aimed at drawing the United States back into the conflict with Iran. The assessment adds that Trump is likely to stay out of direct involvement, leaving Israel to confront Iran and its regional allies without U.S. intervention. This is one of the best possible scenarios, the analyst says. Take a look at what they're posting on Iranian news. Donald Trump waving the white flag. They're doing videos of this. But just take a look over here. This is additional Israeli airstrikes hitting Beirut's suburban neighborhoods, south suburbs. And we already know that there was probably over 1,000 casualties, with 258 killed in Beirut by Israel. Point out this other post that Donald Trump made. That's what he said late last night. All U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts, bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all of the fake rhetoric to the contrary, no nuclear weapons, and the Strait of Hormuz will be open and safe. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting, looking forward, actually, to its next conquest. America is back, looking forward to its next conquest. So Donald Trump says the military is loading up around Iran and threatens that if his demands aren't met, the shooting starts, while saying our military is looking for the next conquest. I mean, we realize that this person needs to be impeached. He needs to be locked up in prison. He's a felon. He's been found civilly liable for sexual assault. Thus, he's a sexual predator. He is a disgusting, vile, ghoulish thing. And the military is looking for its next conquest. How anyone can sit back and be like, oh, that's just normal. That's normal. This is a disgusting fascist who represents the worst of humanity. Just set aside even the worst of America, the worst of humanity. And then he's got his little sycophants like J.D. Vance saying, oh, I actually think that MB Ghalibaf, Iran's parliament leader, maybe he doesn't understand English. So that's why a little miscommunication. He didn't understand English. What are you talking about? You are the ones who are just a bunch of con artists and saying, oh, the 10-point deal is the 10-point deal. Just the loser behavior by JD. It just sucks to them. I hate to oversimplify. It's just terrible to see such awful humans and just dumb, awful humans like JD Vance and Trump. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
A lot of agreement. That's point number one. Point number two, to respond to each of those issues, and I read it very closely. Let me just say this. I actually wonder how good he is at understanding English, because there are things that he said that frankly didn't make sense in the context of the negotiations that we've had. But to address the 3 points, first of all, he talked about an attack that had allegedly happened on Iran and how that was a violation of the ceasefire. Ceasefires are always messy. An hour after the president announced the ceasefire, the Iranians launched a bunch of missiles. Then the Israelis responded.
I think we had a reasonable misunderstanding regarding Lebanon, and that's why Israel's going to continue just blowing up and killing civilians in Lebanon. A reasonable misunderstanding. Literally in the statement by the neutral mediator who you selected, Sharif, the prime minister of Pakistan, it says Lebanon shall be included in the ceasefire. But go ahead, lie, JD Vance, lie. Here, play this clip.
I think the third thing that he said was Lebanon. Okay. And again, I actually think that is a reasonable misunderstanding, but neither us nor the Israelis said that was going to be part of the ceasefire. Again, we're working with people to try to get through some of these things, but it's really fundamentally, we're on the right track.
And then JD Vance made that weird comment about his wife jumping out of airplanes. Let's play it.
Going in the right direction, but it's going to take a little time. The second thing Ghalibaf said, which again I found fascinating, is he said, we refuse to give up the right to enrichment. And I thought to myself, you know what? My wife has the right to skydive, but she doesn't jump out of an airplane because she and I have an agreement that she's not going to do that because I don't want my wife jumping out of an airplane. We don't really concern ourselves with what they claim they have the right to do. We concern ourselves with what they actually do. And I think the president's been very clear on the enrichment question. Our position on that has not changed.
Sickening stuff. And now Israel's saying, we believe Iran is going to resume missile attacks against Israel. So we're going to have to go and attack Iran again. And so we reported yesterday, right, that the United Arab Emirates used one of their fighter jets to strike major infrastructure in Iran yesterday. And they did this because it's like, okay, well, it wasn't the United States and Israel's plane. It was the UAE, and they're not bound by the ceasefire. And it's like, okay, they're being told to do that by the United States and Israel. And the UAE hates this 10-point plan because it's a full surrender, and Iran now becomes a massive world player and a massive world power, and it recognizes their control of the Strait of Hormuz. So the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Israel are trying to figure out how the hell do we break this ceasefire. And so, you know, this ceasefire is not, it's not a real ceasefire. It's never a ceasefire to begin with. So there you have it. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers, and thanks for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.